We are live for our Double or Nothing 2001 preview prediction show, guys. I am so excited to have everybody here. Let me start off by introducing everybody. First of all, tonight he's not a two-time MLB All-Star. He's not just the head coach. He is in the playoffs for the first time in his first year as a high school head coach. That's Dmitri Young.
Thank you. I love that introduction. And if you're wondering, I'm wearing a Richard Prize shirt.
He is a two-time X Division champion, the man behind the man, behind the man. He's my best friend and yours. That's Canadian hero, Petey Williams.
How's she going, eh?
Yeah. Canadian Destroyer.
This man is only one Stanley Cup away from tying Booker T's five-time, but he's our four-time Stanley Cup champion, the man, the myth, the legend, Detroit's favorite son. That's Darren McCarty.
D-Mac in the house, baby. There it is. You saw the preview. I dropped the D-Mac Stoner, but get DarrenMcCarty.com. There's the D-Mac. And Dennis, I apologize because I realized sometimes D-Mac comes out and the D is for Dick Mac. So it's come out here before, and Darren wants to apologize to Dennis when D-Mac came out before in the past. He's going to try to keep it to Mac and say the D-Mac, but there we go.
Well, this guy tours around the world. He puts music in your ears, smile on your faces, groove in your hips, and love in your heart. That's right. From the band Rancid, that's Lars Frederiksen.
Hello, everyone. And you know what? Since we're all showing off our T-shirts, I want to show off mine because I think this was an event that a T-shirt was never made for. So I don't know if you can see.
Oh, that's a classic then.
Oh, yeah.
Undertaker Mankind. I'm stoked to be here.
Nice. Well, I'm wearing my Shea Gaspar collar and elbow shirt that I ordered online. Thank you guys for giving that to me on collar and elbow when I ordered it and you sent it and I finally received it. So that made me happy. All right, guys, in the chat room, feel free to pop in, say hi, throw up the messages. We'll be able to see them tonight. We are talking Double or Nothing 2021 with fans. Let's start with this. Before we jump in, did you guys watch this week's AEW Dynamite that was on Friday night?
I saw half of it.
Lie at this point. Just lie to me, guys.
No,
Yeah,
yes, I did.
Sure.
What a different show with a full stadium.
Yeah.
Holy cow. That show felt like the first time I watched it with a full stadium. And I tell you, I'm excited for Double or Nothing just because of the fans to see how they react to these wrestlers, see which wrestlers are actually over and not over.
You know what, Dennis, to that point, it took me a minute. I thought they were showing a replay from the original to realize it was actually live, and it was actually like it was something else going on because it was absolutely shocking. I'm in Indianapolis right now because I'm going to the Indy 500 tomorrow. So that's the one thing is like it was amazing. So it'll be something like that. That's why tomorrow is going to be exciting for the AEW Double or Nothing.
Lars, let me touch with you real quick. What are you excited about this pay-per-view coming on? What's the one thing? Are you even excited? We haven't even talked about this.
Well, there's so many things happening. Obviously, the tag match with Darby and Sting, I'm excited for. I kind of want to see what's going on with Will Hobbs and Christian. I think that I want to save all this for when we're talking about the show because I got a lot of maybe some predictions, and of course, I always have many opinions. But so I'm excited for this whole thing. Just seeing fans back in the stands, asses in seats, as they say, that was a pretty nice feeling to kind of go, well, hopefully chicken sandwich.
Yeah, Trey Miguel, I just saw him just post up, so I got his shirt, chicken sandwich shirt. So sorry, Lars, that was just me trying to be like not
I'm trying to be professional. You're trying to order fucking food.
Dmitri, you watching Double or Nothing? What are your thoughts?
AEW is always exciting, and they always put together great storylines, and they had climactic finishes at their pay-per-views. So I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff. Like Lars says, I want to wait till we get to each match and talk about our predictions. But with the fans in the stadium last night, like I said, I watched half of it and then I fell asleep because I'm old. But watching Hangman Page and Joey Janela, just listening to the energy, I mean, it was just like really ridiculous. And then afterward, he was all bloodied up, and Brian Cage came out, and you just had to roar the crowd. And wow. Yeah, why don't we talk about the fan interaction first, because that was really what was missing. And you know, we did miss it, and it slowly came back, slowly but surely. But last night was incredible.
Pete?
Yeah, absolutely. With the fans, I mean, it's such a difference maker when you're wrestling in front of like a large crowd. I can't wait till Impact doesn't announce when they're gonna have, you know, fans back and when we're gonna, you know, start touring again. I'm assuming it's gonna be soon, because even Ring of Honor, who's been doing their shows, you know, on a closed set, no fans, not even piped in crowd noise. They've even announced they're going to be, you know, allowing in fans and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, what a difference maker just the fans are. They really are the ones that like bring the energy to the show. It makes, you know, the wrestlers try harder, you know, go out there and just, you know, do what they're, you know, what we've been trained to do and what we love to do. I will pick a sleeper pick for, I think that will be, not it might be match of the night, but one that I think everybody will be surprised about, and I'll say it's the Hangman Page and Brian Cage match. I think that one's going to blow a lot of the stuff out of the water, and people are going to be surprised at that match.
Well, thanks for ruining one of my segments later in the night.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah, we'll jump in the gun there, but
okay.
Thank you for. You don't get a turn now at the end of the show.
I'll just remember that one.
Lars,
I would have thought these guys would have talked about that this morning when fucking Petey left for work. I mean,
first of all, when I rolled over and woke him up to get him out of my bed, a little grump. So let's get that out of the way.
We all know Canadians are grumpy until they've had their coffee from what's the Canada?
Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons.
Timmy Hose.
Tim Hortons.
A large double is what we call it. Yep.
Timmy Hose. Go with the coffee mocha. That's hot chocolate with the coffee. Extra large.
He was not happy when I had Dunkin' Donuts. All right, let's.
Was Dmitri just giving us some sound effects right there?
Yeah.
Hey,
that was
no, it was me. It's always me. I was ventriloquist. I was practicing.
All right. Yeah. Let's start with some matches, guys. For number one for me on my match list, they have not released the order of the matches, so I'm just going off the Wikipedia page in the order they have them on. Sierra Deebs versus Rajo. Is that how you say it?
Rio.
For the NWA Women's Championship, first and foremost, it makes me happy to see the NWA Championship being defended on other shows again, like it was a few years ago before they started their studio show, and especially the Women's Championship that often gets forgotten. And it's a newer championship out of them, but it's going to create that legacy. And hopefully they don't make the same mistake they have with the male championship right now, because they've left it on that guy a little too long and it felt stale to me. But let's start with Pete. What do you think in this match?
You know, I'm going to go, I'll keep this one short. I'm going to go Serena Deeb. I just, you know, she's the current champion. So I don't see them doing a switch of the title. Especially it's going to be that will be on the pre-show, so I don't see that happening right there. So Serena Deeb is my choice.
D-Mac?
Agreed. I think it's you know, time to, like what you said, Dennis. It's a combination of what you and Petey said about how to get it back into something. I don't think in the pre-show it's going to change hands. Storyline wise, it really doesn't make sense to. So.
Now, Lars, are you excited about that? Sorry, D-Mac, I cut you off.
No, you're good, bud.
Lars?
Well, you know, I love Serena Deeb. I think she's an incredible wrestler. And one of the things that I've noticed about her, I mean, everybody talks about Thunder Rosa this, Thunder Rosa that. The match that they had, I think that she brought out the best in Thunder Rosa, and as a result, elevated Thunder Rosa in a lot of ways. And I think that, a lot of the talk goes on to her, not Serena Deeb, but Thunder Rosa. But I feel like she's kind of like the one who, I don't know. I honestly enjoy watching her more. I think she's a great wrestler. I don't think they're going to take the belt off of her. She's the perfect person to go around with that belt and show it, because she's the highest caliber. I don't necessarily know how putting the belt on Rio would help in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like, although Rio is a good wrestler, I think just Serena is got it. I really think she does. And she's been everywhere too, so she's got a lot of experience. And I mean, how long has she been doing it? Like 10, 12 years?
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
yeah.
Why would you? I don't know why you would take it off of one of your veterans like her, who's that good, And now, at a time where wrestling, as far as the consistency of wrestlers, and maybe Petey, you can have a little bit more insight on this. But I almost feel like now that's going to be more consistent for these guys. They're going to get better and better and better.
No, Dmitri.
No, yeah, but he threw something to you, and I.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I agree 100%. I was nodding along. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Dmitri.
No, I agree with what Lars had to say about you having two of the better female wrestlers start out the whole thing on a pre-show with the crowd coming in, and you had a current NWA champion, Serena Deeb. They're not taking the belt off of her because they have bigger and better things to do with everything opening up, especially with NWA, what they have going on there. But you also have the very first AEW champion, and she can more than hold her own, weighing less than 100 pounds. And they're going to go out there and prove that AEW does have a women's division. So I expect a great, pre-show match.
I'm with you. And if this was on the main show, I might have given it a better chance of a title switch. I feel like it cheapens the NWA women's belt if you make a switch on a pre-show. And then on the flip side, I mean, they already have a guy who has 2 title belts from 2 different companies. I kind of hate to see them do this again with a female wrestler, and almost takes away from either one of the 2 accomplishments. I mean, one, I think, per show is kind of enough right now. Let Deeb go out there and build her brand now on a bigger stage. Let's move on. Let's go with Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson, Anthony Ogogo bringing out QT Marshall and his gang. I'll be honest. Anthony Ogogo for me has carried this rivalry. I like Cody. I'm not sure how I feel about him bringing out the American Dream moniker for this match. To me, that's sacred, and it feels like it should have been saved for maybe a bigger opponent. And to me, it doesn't make Anthony Ogogo feel bigger. I think he's going to be a star as long as he's healthy in the ring. But I felt like a little too early for this, and Anthony for me is carrying this match. Now he won't go over. I mean, this is going to be out Cody all day long, I think. But I think this is going to be where Anthony loses, but it makes him a bigger star because of what he does in the ring. What about you, D-Mac?
Well, see, it always goes to, because I'm the storyline guy, so it always goes to where's the story going here. And right now it seems like we gotta buy into QT Marshall being the factory and stuff like this. And then I look into the why and what's Cody got going on bigger than this. Well, the baby's coming. This is a great way to exit off TV for a while. So I'm looking for what twist will it be, or will it happen, whether Cody goes over or not. I think you're right as far as I'm more interested to see Anthony Ogogo as a bronze medal Olympic boxer and his love for this sport, how the transition and how, the flow goes, just from the little experience I have from training and, being in a match and stuff like this, but just to see the work that's gone in. And I want to see where the story goes, right? Because you can't, QT is supposed to be like turning into this really, really bad dude or whatever like this with the factory. So that it'll be interesting what happens between the academy or the Nightmare family and the factory or whatever it is. And so I don't really, it'll be interesting more so, Dennis, just because where the story goes.
Lars?
Yeah, I mean, this one's a little tough to call to me. I mean, I feel like what you said about the American Dream moniker, I feel like they're trying to make a bigger deal out of this than I think it is. I think that the build, it should have been a lot longer to get to this. I honestly don't think that, I mean, it's hard because I think if Gogo gets a win over Cody, I don't really think that does much for him, honestly, in my opinion, though. You know what I mean? I think this is kind of one of those matches where, it's like, I like how they built it up and, the punch, and he goes straight down and, but I don't know. I mean, this one's a hard one to call in my opinion, but honestly, this, of all the matches on this card, this is the one I've got the least amount of interest in, but I would say Cody's probably going to go over just because he's the wrestler here. And like you said, the American Dream thing, and I don't know. That's kind of just what I'm thinking.
Dmitri?
I am on my own island with this one because I feel that if they don't get Anthony Ogogo over, that whole faction that they had is just definitely not going to be. It's going to be like retribution. And and I think that there's a lot more respect with those guys, especially with Ogogo and putting the British flag over Cody Rhodes. I can see them dragging that on a little bit, giving QT Marshall's, the factory group, a little more credibility. And they've been doing a good job on Elevation and on Dark, and just giving that. I mean, it's not going to hurt Cody any, but at the same time, it's going to elevate those guys. And that's just like Lars said, his opinion. This is my opinion with it. But I think it's going to be a bloodshed, of course, because Cody loves blood. And they've really been showing off Ogogo's boxing skills. So I think that it's going to be like I'm more excited about this one than a lot of you guys are because, I'm kind of liking that storyline with the whole factory breaking off from the Nightmare family.
Now, Pete, Dan in the chat says he hopes Ogogo wins. It's a hard call. What's yours?
I'm going with Dmitri on this one. I'm going to say Anthony Ogogo is going to win. Again, he's not established yet. Now he's going against a really established guy. I know, some people might say like, oh, it doesn't mean anything if he beats Cody. It in my mind, it does. Cody's one of the, I guess, executive VPs of the company. So he's a big deal. He's a big star on the show. So I think that he's going to, put over Anthony Ogogo. D-Max definitely right. Baby's coming. So, I feel like this is a send off, and it's going to make, their little group right there is going to go on from there. I don't know what role Arn Anderson's going to play in it because he's going to be in his corner. I don't see, maybe he does like a turn or something. I don't know. But just looking at this match and, I think Anthony Ogogo is going to win this one.
Let me just interject real quick. I'm sorry, Dennis, but okay, so let's say Ogogo goes over. Do you think it's a clean finish?
No. I think I don't think it'll be like, like
a dusty
I
finish?
think they're going to do something to where it looks like it's going to be a dirty finish and Cody will kick out of that. And that'll be the good false finish. And then he'll go over clean after that, but then he'll be able to rest on, hey, he already cheated prior. That's how I think it's going to go.
And to Dimitri's point, I think it sets something up for bigger down the line. Come back to it when Cody comes back, because the factory can build while the Nightmare, factory sort of dissembled while Cody has the baby. As they grow, Gogo gets more matches. They, and then they head up again to the next pay-per-view or something or two down the road.
That actually makes a ton of sense. It makes the storyline extend because I think if Gogo gets a win here, the storyline for me is over. Gogo should move on to somebody else because he's got the win. Now, if it's a dirty finish, the storyline can continue. and help him grow, because I think this is a great coming out party match for Go-Go in his first major rivalry on his first big show.
But do you think that they're going to acknowledge the fact that Cody's having a baby, or are they going to do something so terrible to go? I mean, this is a prime opportunity, to do something really, really gnarly to Cody.
Let me ask you that question with this question. Do you think Cody is capable of walking away, even with a baby, for any sort of amount of time from the business? I don't think he can. I think he's addicted.
No, I think he can, because Dusty did it to him.
And also, if my wife was her, damn straight I'd be staying until she said I could leave.
By the way, great girlfriend you have. I'm saving watching. I'm saving you on that one.
I'm just saying, it's like she seems like she's like, he's gonna want her man there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the person.
Another Rose baby gonna appear that way.
All right, let's move on. Adam Hangman Page versus Brian Cage with Taz in this quarter. This has been a great build-up. I am so happy to have Taz back in the wrestling industry, not just in the booth, but back as a manager of some sort. This guy is phenomenal. I mean, Pete, you and we've had Brian Cage on the show a few times. He's been amazing to us, just hanging out backstage and talking. It's hard to root against Brian Cage when you know him as a person, but I think right now they're grooming Hangman to be the star of this company, and he cannot lose this match. He already lost a dirty match to Brian already, which tells me this is going to be a Hangman Page win, and it puts him back on top of the rankings. We'll start with you, Pete.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think Hangman is definitely going to win this match. It's tough because Brian Cage, he's a monster, man. But man, he's so athletic and he's so good. But I don't see Brian winning. I'm kind of upset a little bit at AEW for not pushing Brian as much as they should. But I mean, they have so much talent on their roster. It's hard to push everybody to the top. Everybody's got to wait their turn. Brian will get his turn. But I think right now it's Adam Page's turn, and they are, I agree, grooming him to be he's going to be one of the top contenders. Yeah, absolutely.
Dmitri Young.
I think there's going to be something happening in a sense where he's going to be breaking away from Team Taz. There's been a lot of rumblings over the past few months with him and Ricky Starks and him and Taz, and I think something's going to happen in a sense where Hangman's going to win, and it's going to be because of something that happened with Team Taz, and he's going to separate. And it's going to be a vicious separation.
Lars?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the barn burner. I think this is going to be really good. I love, the whole dynamic between the idea of them both being in the ring at the same time. I think what I'm going to be curious to see is how much chemistry, if that chemistry can be up to another level. You know what I'm saying? And just the psychology, because we're talking about, two different body types here. You know what I mean? And it's like, how is Hangman going to approach this Cage guy? Because Cage is a monster. He's their monster. I think he's more of a monster than what's his nuts, who's also wrestling. Miro. So it's like, I honestly see that, but I think what everybody's been saying about how they're kind of grooming Hangman for that next kind of position. I see this is just one more step for him to get through, to get to that place. And everybody's going to see, that he can go through the monster and he can do so much, not just get hammered.
D-Mac, what's your take?
Well, it's the Dark Order and, Taz's crew and everybody else, and I think exactly that this is a culmination to where we've seen in the past Ricky Starks, and there's been some little turmoil in that faction there. So I think Hangman wins because, like you guys were saying, and because before he lost, with a dirty ending, and just storyline wise, it makes sense because you can launch Cage by himself into a whole new storyline, maybe being an ally. Because I see Brian Cage, he's more of a big good guy than Miro's a great bad guy. Lance Archer's a great monster, but I like Cage being the, sort of like in the Fantastic Four. He's like the Rock or whatever his name's like something.
The Thing.
The Thing. I mean, yeah, the Rock, not the Rock.
He's as orange as him. So
yeah. But I like Hangman because I think that this is coming around when it comes. See, I got this. This goes into the main event, but I think it's 6-8 months, and then that's Hangman's the guy that they're pushing next.
All right. By the way, everybody in the chat room, we want to know your predictions, so feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll bring them up and discuss your predictions too. So we want you part of the show. Let's move on. We talked about it a second ago. Romero versus Lance Archer with Jake Roberts for the AEW Championship. And I'll be honest, I don't know what to make of this match. I think Miro will retain because they have actually started to build and push this character. Take the belt off him now, takes him 3 steps behind where he is now. Lance Archer, I think Lance Archer is being built as this, I hate to use the word jobber, but like a monster jobber. The guy that can legitimately win, but doesn't mind taking a pin. Or if he takes a pin, it doesn't really hurt him or set him back. And I'll be honest, I think Miro wins. This might be the match where might be the most bruised match out of everybody in this. D-Mac?
No, this is going to be violent. I would like Archer to win, but no, they're building. Miro's done such a great job of slobbering all over everybody and destroying everybody that I think that, something happens, and it'll probably be like you said, because it doesn't. You're right, Dennis. Jobber's not really the greatest term, but he's like a Kevin Owens to the company, where it just wins and losses doesn't define him. That, to your point about winning or losing, it's just more where does it line the storyline. I know that poor Kevin got chopped in the throat. I hope he's okay.
Now, Lars Paladin in the chat says both are monsters and can't lose. Jake will turn. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good prediction, honestly. And I do think that no matter how it goes, it won't be a clean finish. If it is, I'll be massively surprised. But I don't know about the Jake turn. But I would say that Mira's going to go over just because I think they need the big monster bad guy. I know we got MJF, who's the best heel in the business. I get it. But we don't really have like a guy like Miro in that company who's big, he's mean, he seems somewhat indestructible, and can really bring that kind of, I don't know. It just reminds me of that old school kind of heel thing. And so, and also I'm wondering, like, well, who's next on his list after, who are they gonna feed to him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's way too early to bring Darby back in the picture, I think.
I think it's more interesting to know who they're going to feed Miro than they're going to feed what's his nuts.
Playoff coach Dmitri Young.
It's going to be Miro because I don't know why they keep putting Lance Archer in these type of matches so soon. When he first came to AEW, he was going for the world title, the TNT title. It's like, let him build up. He's like Braun Strowman to me. Y'all was talking about comparisons. D-Mac said Kevin Owens. I look at him more as Braun Strowman. He's big and bad, not supposed to lose at all. But they're putting it, and they're kind of softening him up. So, that Jake the Snake turn, because Jake the Snake's always evil. And Miro is about evil as they come. What he did to Kip Sabian, oh my God. I think that's what everybody was looking for, because he came into AEW, this video gamer wearing pajamas and stuff, really not taking it seriously. And then when he turned on Kip Sabian and just showed who the real Miro is, it was truly Rusev Day when he came out there and started beating up on Darby Allin. I think that's going to carry over, and he's going to have a dominant victory over Lance Archer. I think something's going to happen. Someone's going to interfere where Miro's going to be able to put it on him. Is it going to be clean? Not really, but he's going to have a decisive victory.
People in the chat room seem to think this could be a Jake the Snake Roberts turn on Archer. So I don't know, Pete.
Man, that would be good. I mean, a lot of people I think wouldn't see it coming. I don't think it'll happen. This is I did initially pick Miro to win, but I'm listening to everybody, and I want to change. Just you guys are talking about different storyline directions and stuff. I'm going to change my decision. I'm going to go with a no contest, and this is why. I don't think there'll be a decisive winner. It's because I don't believe I haven't been following this storyline, but I think I think this is a cold match, right? Like it's meaning like they haven't put much into this storyline, right?
Right.
No,
So that's why I think it's going to be a no con. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, hey, here's a cold match. Cold matches suck, man. Like I hate doing cold matches myself. So I think, if they're going to go out there, they're going to have an awesome match. It's going to be, I don't know what the no contest is going to be. Maybe they're going to brawl to the back or whatever. And then this is going to be the start of the storyline between those two.
Thank God. I hope so, because I don't know if you guys agree with me, but it felt like it was a little too soon for Lance Archer versus Miro in the Miro run. Like, to me, this felt like this could be that final boss where if Miro beats him, then he can go on for another couple months. You asked a question, what was it, the last one we talked about, where does he go from here? Where does Miro go from here if he beats Lance Archer? Everybody else is so much smaller.
There you go. Somebody's going to have to be the David versus Goliath.
That's why Petey nailed it. There's your 3-month storyline starting tomorrow with whatever else. I mean, to me, it makes, that's why I like talking about it, because it's more so that what we realize, it's not the now, it's not what's happening in front of us. What have they planned, or where's the story going? Because it's all thought out, and it's just cool.
Now, this next match, we just had him on a few weeks ago. It's Sting and Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. And we'll start with you, Lars, because this is your boy.
Yeah. It's going to be Darby and Sting. It has to be. I mean, it would be stupid if it wasn't. You know what I mean? So I think you just got to legitimize. It's almost like you got to, because I don't know about you guys, but I want to see these two together. And I want to see them together for a while. Mm-hmm. And then I want to see some kind of thing where there's a beef between them. Obviously I've always felt like Sting was there to kind of sort of pass the torch. I mean, I know he's going to be there for a while. How many year contract? 3 or 4 or something like that?
I don't know.
I think you got a 2-year deal at least.
So I mean, let's just say like dad and son are doing well for a year and a couple months, and then all of a sudden, dad's starting to get disappointed or losing a step, and then son says, okay, let's do this. So that's kind of where I see this going anyways, is those two ended up duking it out. And as we see this, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky make a turn. And I mean,
the North's going south.
Hey man, Alexander's my tag team partner right now. Jeez, he just saw us, what was it, Thursday night? We lost, but whatever.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think that it's too soon to build any tension between these two. We're just kind of getting going, and hopefully, they don't do some crash course TV with these two guys, because I think that they're just, I mean, the chemistry's there between these two, and I hope that they just take that and use it to their advantage and push it for as long as they can. And I'm going to be curious to see who AEW is going to be signing in the coming months, because I think a lot of our answers are going to be answered, a lot of our questions about who they're going to feed Miro. And I think there's some things that are in the works that we're not privy to right now. Some talks with other wrestlers because AEW seems like they're always thinking ahead, like to bring in Christian, and now he's putting over Will Hobbs, or that whole thing, teaching. I don't know. It's like it's really cool. So I feel like they've already figured this out. What we're talking about is incident.
Yeah.
Dmitri Young.
Okay. Real quick, when did Scorpio Sky leave SCU?
Several months ago. He was the first to go.
Did he just leave? Or
Oh,
what
no, it
happened?
was, I think he attacked.
He did. I missed it.
That's
But
okay. You're in the playoffs. That's why you missed it.
yeah. But in all seriousness, I think that it's going to be Sting and Darby Allin, but it's going to be so good that it's going to elevate both Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. But I love what Lars was talking about, the father-son dynamic, where the son's going to be a little bit, tired of dad and his instructions and stuff and want to break free. And I can kind of see that going on with those two. I think they're still in that one from WWE with the Mysterios. But and it might be something that happens with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page as well, because that is an odd pairing. I know they did work together prior to being at Impact and AEW respectively. So I was just kind of curious where that one's gonna go after that. But it's definitely gonna be Sting and Darby Allin.
Pete, apparently the rumors you're working with AEW now.
I guess I haven't heard anything. I mean, I'm being truly honest with this one.
Yeah, the key to the forbidden door.
I guess so. I mean, obviously, I've worked with Tony Khan over at Impact and stuff, but I have heard no rumors. I usually keep things hush hush, but as God is my witness, or however you want to put it, I haven't heard any rumors that AEW is buying Impact. But obviously, they wouldn't tell me if even that was true. Getting back to the question, what's up?
All you got to do is pay attention where the next pay stub comes from. If it comes from Florida, then you know.
Here's the problem, right? I mean, when I just recently went back, I always got it mailed to me, right? For like 15 years, just a mailed check. And then they're like, we don't do that anymore. Everything's electronic. And I'm like, I like having the mail check and going, I'm old school, right? So now it's electronic. So I don't even know where it comes from. It just shows up in my account and I'm like, all right, cool. I got my money, right?
You should check your account to see if it has Con Industries
instead of like Anthem Entertainment. Yeah, I should actually. Yeah,
with a Jaguars logo on it.
Yeah, right. My next paycheck should be coming up shortly, so I mean, I'm gonna have to check that out, and I'll report back. Okay. So what match we? Oh yeah, Sting and Darby. Getting back on it. I'm definitely going with Sting and Darby with this one. Like I've been in the ring with both Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, both phenomenal workers. I hate that they don't, you guys know what I'm saying with their tag team. Like, come on. And I see if they keep them as a tag team, I don't see they have so many good tag teams. I just see them as that, like not the top tier, but the second tier that the new contenders always face to get up to that top tier. Like, it seems like that's what they are right now. I'd like to see, like Sting and Darby win this and then challenge for the AEW tag titles right after that, and then that builds on that. And this is a big deal for Sting. It's his first match in an actual live crowd in AEW, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a huge thing. The question is, who's going to get the pinfall? Who's going to take the pin? I'll say Darby Allin gets the pinfall on. I'll say Scorpio Sky. Bump it up a little bit.
T-Mac.
Yeah, I think Darby and Sting, obviously for the same reasons I love them together, right along storyline wise as Lars, and it makes sense too after the tag team champions, no matter who they go to. Which I think if that's the next one, I'll lead it off because I think it's going to change to Mox and Kingston, and it would lead a great feud between Darby and Sting, and Mox and Kingston gets it. That's money. It gets it into grit and dirty and something else where the Bucks can regroup. And I don't think to that match, I think Scorpio Sky takes the pin. I don't know who pins him, but I think he takes it. You might get a pop if Sting pins him after a Scorpion Death Drop or something. But were you going tag team next, Dennis, or?
We will. Let me get my take real quick though. Okay. I think Sting and Darby win against my better judgment. You guys kind of talked me into this because originally I thought, boy, I kind of like Scorpio and Ethan together. And if you've seen the packages or go online, Ethan Page has always had Darby Allin's number, whatever company they've both been in. So if anybody's taking the pin, I think Darby pins Ethan to really hammer home that legacy. And then maybe the two split off, not split away from the groups, but go into a singles feud against each other. That might be that way. it keeps them, Sting and Darby, out of the championship picture, while the Bucks, and I don't think this will transfer into the Young Bucks and Moxley Kingston match, but I think that this is going to be a rivalry that will continue for another month or two after this match. I don't think this is a blow-off match for these guys. I think the Young Bucks retain, in all honesty. I love Mox. I love Kingston. The magic that these four guys are putting on right now in their promos and everything, I think it's just too soon to end it. There's got to be some sort of shenanigans here to keep the Young Bucks retained because, right now, if you look at it, depending on who wins these matches, it's all hills, and I kind of like that. So, D-Mac, I'll go back to you since you were.
Yeah, no, I think it's time for at least a short reign because then it can go even more heelish. But I like what you said. If it goes that way, like I always say, storyline guy doesn't have to like it, but it's got to make sense, and it makes sense either way. So I hope Kingston and Moxley win just because I love their promos.
Lars?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I really feel like there's an opportunity here for AEW to really give the Young Bucks some. I mean, I know they've had a lot of young teams, and I think they have a great tag team division. But I just think of like Sting and Darby, Moxley and what's his name?
Kingston.
Who have been friends, and there was that whole story between them. You know what I mean? So I really feel like so I'm kind of curious to see, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want to see how Sting's going to do in this tag match. Because I really feel like if Sting and Darby have a great match, and then I'm thinking you got Moxley and Kingston, you got the Young Bucks, you got some other great tag teams there. That almost deepens that division. So if it would be if I was calling the shots, it would be an audible till after that match. I would wait to kind of see how that match goes before I would say who's going over to who, because I really feel like if Sting performs really well, you can put Sting and Darby against Moxley and God, why do I keep forgetting his goddamn name?
Kingston.
Thank you. Kofi Kingston. No, it's just
oh man, I want pancakes now.
But to me, doesn't that, I mean, that sounds like a really good match. Kingston and Moxley, Darby and Sting, or even the Young Bucks, Darby and Sting. So I can kind of see those three, like the Russians meet the Rock and Roll Express, meet the Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, with those. That's the way I could kind of see it, because we're of the same caliber. You know what I mean?
Now, Coach.
But who's gonna win? I hope to God that Moxley, because I think he's out of the world title picture for a while. I don't think he's going to be there. It's obviously Omega's gig now, and he's going to be feuding with whomever in the other promotions, and just collecting belts. I'm hoping that Moxley and Kingston take this.
Now, Coach Dmitri Young, Alvarez in the chat said it'd be cool if the Bucks lost and went to Impact, causing conflict between the Good Brothers. Now, does this go anywhere into your prediction?
No, and I'm going against the grain, and the Young Bucks are going to win, and it's going to be an action-packed match. They're going to do a super kick party on the guy that Lars can't remember. And they're gonna move on from there. They gotta have that legitimacy as being the top team, especially they're the VPs and stuff. I'm pretty sure that if I was one of the presidents of the corporation, I'm gonna have me an extended stay as champion, and that'll set up feud against the Pinnacle, FTR, or they got so many different tag teams out there that they can choose from. I just want them to keep that legitimacy and possibly fight against the Good Brothers. Internal strife is always good to watch.
Pete?
You know, I mean, I've been in the ring with 75% of these guys in this match. All phenomenal workers, athletes.
Well, who have you been in the ring with though in that match then?
Moxley.
Okay.
I haven't wrestled him. I don't think I've had a match with Kingston, but we've done run-ins like on Tommy Dreamer show and stuff like that, where, you know, he's giving me suplexes or whatever. I probably have matches against him. You know me, I can't remember. But you know, this is tough. This is a tough pick because you look at, like, you know, where they're going to go next. So the Young Bucks, you know, just doing their gimmick now with the new bio and all that kind of stuff. They're like on fire, right? And they are the tag division, and they can have a good match with broomsticks. You know what I mean? And this will probably be Jon Moxley's like best match to date, I think. Okay. And I think the Young Bucks are going to win and retain. I'd like to see Moxley and Kingston win, but I think the Young Bucks are going to retain. The tough part about that decision is that where does Moxley go? He's one of their key players. Where does he go?
Wife's
it's almost
pregnant.
You have to give him what's that?
Wife's pregnant.
Yeah, there we go. When they're almost due at the same time. So maybe
I'll change mine. Young Bucks win.
Definitely going over.
Okay, so yeah, unanimous Young Bucks. There we go.
Good call, Dmitri. All right, Cheetah takes on Dr. Britt Baker. I think this is the match I'm excited about, and we riot if Britt Baker does not win this match, right? I mean, to me, she's put the work in. The promos have been phenomenal. The matches have been amazing from her. I think she does held the belt long enough where if Britt wins, it's a big enough deal. And she's already made herself one of the top heels in this company. I am excited. I think Britt takes the match. D-Mac?
Absolutely. And one thing that I almost guarantee is she's got to take color. She loves it, dude. And she's fast rising as one of the most improved, not only all around, but workers. And her promo game is awesome. The DMD. I think that Reba Not Rebel, or Rebel Not Reba, she you know, helps her out a lot with her gimmick and stuff. And I think she's funny. I think she's everything in a heel, but like I think we're going to see a great match. I think we're going to see a match that we're going to go, whoa, man, that was put it on the line. But I hope Britt better win.
Petey.
Not to give away my other upcoming picks, but I think Britt's going to win. I think it's going to be the only title change on the entire show. And I mean, just like what you said, Dennis and D-Mac, like it's her time, man. Like if you can't wait, if they don't pull the trigger now, then they leave her dead in the water. I've seen it happen way too many times with talent like Seth Rollins, Ring of Honor. Like they wait. They feel like they could build up the person more, but then people just get tired of waiting and they don't pull the trigger quick enough. So I think they're going to do it tomorrow. And I think, you know, Britt's going to win.
Lars?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Petey on that one. I feel like if they let her go any longer, I would understand why they would. But I mean, I think you're right, Petey. It's her time to shine. She's great. She's the most enjoyable woman wrestler that there is to watch. I would love to see her face everyone. You know what I mean? It's like, I think she's just got so much charisma. You know, she's such an incredible talent. You know what I mean? I think she could be, you know, one of the many faces, you know, amongst others of that company. And I think she already is in a lot of ways. And I think, you know, just her attitude of like, you know, some of the stuff that you see online, like I'm not getting my share and just, you know, being so, I don't know. I hope she gets it and then is totally, completely ungrateful. You know what I mean? Acts like that about it. You know what I mean? I think it would be amazing.
Let me go back to Dmitri for a second, and let me ask you this. Where would you put Britt Baker right now in all of women's wrestling?
Top two.
Top two.
Top two.
Who's above her? Or number two?
Number two, I mean, you could go anybody really, but I mean, Britt Baker, she's like, you hear about certain wrestlers that don't need a belt. Well, this belt will be more of a coronation because of what she's done. But when she turned heel and then when she had the jacked up leg and she was in the wheelchair and her promo skills and how she talks and Rebel. I mean, Rebo, she's hilarious as well. So I look forward to every time seeing her. And then these matches she put on are you know, you got to stand up and give it to her. And now is her time. I don't think that AEW needs to wait any longer. You know, Cheetah's been an incredible champion, but it's time for the Britt Baker show to go and tear it up for at least a year.
Lars, can I ask you that same question? And PD, where do you guys rank Britt Baker right now in all of women's wrestling?
PD, you go first.
All right. Well, I mean, you guys know who my number one is. It's just, you know, the sad part is that she's nowhere to be found right now.
I don't think
I've said this like for like the past, I want to say 3 years, maybe 2.
How about for the people that just tuned in for the first time?
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, hey, I'm Petey Williams and no. So Tessa Blanchard, I'd say, is the best female wrestler in the entire world. Like I said, she's not any, you could say what you want about her character, whatever, but when it comes to her in-ring ability, nobody touches her. Like she's just that's how I feel. But and it sucks. Like she's nowhere to be found, and that's why she's kind of out of the picture and nobody's really talking about her or whatever. But you know, the minute she steps back, she's gonna go from nobody remembering her to, you know, everybody, yeah, she's the best in the world. That's what I think. But yeah, Britt Baker's up there, and it'd be awesome to see, like, you know, Tessa sign with AEW and get some, you know, Britt Baker Tessa action.
Lars.
Yeah, I mean, that would be pretty damn amazing. And I think you're right, PD. I mean, in a lot of ways, you know, I feel like Britt is definitely, you know, if not the best, because she's there. You know, I would say she's the best. I think when AEW has a heel, they're the top heel of any.
Yeah, any company. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's almost as if you want to be the top heel, you got to go there now. You know what I mean? So, but I think she's the best, and we better get her at some point on this show. Petey, make some moves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's definitely. I will.
Now that Impact's been bought by AEW.
Yeah, now they're all my coworkers, apparently.
Let's go with the Casino Battle.
Hold on, Dennis.
I heard Impact bought WCW.
The only news that's going to come out of here is like Petey Williams confirms that the Impact was bought by AEW. When I didn't even say that. Like,
you just did. They're going to cut it to it.
I know. Petey Williams confirmed.
Reported by Dennis Romero.
Petey Williams says that his electronic e-check comes from Florida.
Is this going to be on WrestleZone?
Oh, jeez.
Petey Williams wears a Tim Tebow jersey on his podcast.
Doing the Tebow. FYI, I was doing the Tebow before Tebow was doing the Tebow.
Yeah, you know what? And you were doing the Canadians.
So Amazing Red did the Tebow show?
Yeah, he invented that.
Petey,
the Amazing Destroyer?
Yeah.
You know, by the way, Amazing Red was doing the Wrestling Perspective before we all started it too.
Yeah. Amazing Red. I wonder what Amazing Red called the Canadian Destroyer. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the Canadian Destroyer.
I think Dmitri he probably called it the Amazing Destroyer.
I don't think the Destroyer thing. I mean, everybody calls it like whatever Destroyer now, but it's known as a Destroyer. But that's just like the name I made up for it. Like,
well, you know, every time that I hear that a move being said, all I think of is the record by Kiss, Destroyer. So anytime you say the Canadian Destroyer, I'm just thinking Kiss on the Rocks, 1976, Shout It Out Loud, God of Thunder. So I get good memories no matter what.
All right, well, let's hit the Casino Battle Royal here. A ton of people in it. Some of the highlighted names, I'm not going to go through everybody, but Matt Sydal, Kristen Cage, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Penta, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, blah, 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 Pillman Jr., Max Caster, QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, Lee Johnson, and a open spot to be determined. Let's start this out with who is your best guess to be the surprise entrant?
Quick question, Dennis.
Yes.
What are the ramifications if you win the Battle Royal?
A future title shot.
Yes.
AEW World Championship match.
Okay.
So, who wins? Who's a secret entrant? Darren McCarty.
I
know.
This is a tough
a
one.
little bit out on the limb and say the secret entrant is Andrade. And who wins the casino battle royal? It's a tough if it's not the guest, and if it's not that, then it's the other guy we all think it is. If they don't win, it's probably Christian Cage. That's my choice.
Head coach.
All right. My surprise entry is also going to be the winner.
Who is it?
You
Moose.
watching?
Moose.
Oh, Moose.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He's been teasing it hard that he's in Jacksonville right now. The crossover, it makes sense, and he could use that to get into the yeah. Wow. That, God damn you for such a great answer. Someone kick him off the show. All right, Lars.
Well, you know what? Me and Dmitri must be, because that's who I was going to say. And I'm not playing. Maybe me and Dmitri share a brain. It makes the most sense. I think everything's here. It's either Moose comes in and wins it all, or Jungle Boy. I don't know why. I feel like Jungle Boy is going to get a push, right? And I think it's going to get but here's my point. Will Hobbs, Christian, I don't think that either of them will win. I think Christian is put with Hobbs to kind of get him to that place where he can then, go after, the big title or whatever. But it makes the most sense to put Moose in there, right? And to win, right? I mean, that makes the most sense.
I'll say this. AEW is such a forward-thinking company where we're a little bit WWE brainwashed, where we look at the thing and go, well, there's no big name here to win this match. It's got to either be a surprise entrant or Christian Cage, where AEW could say, you know what? Brian Pillman Jr. can win it, and we're going to use that to build him up. And it throws all of us off, and then maybe for a half second we grumble, but then we go, well, he's the future. This is a company that's being built off younger talent, and sometimes we forget that based off the wrestling that we've been forced to watch for the last 10 plus years. Yes, Lars.
Just a side note. I mean, if you guys watch that Brian Pillman documentary, Junior, I mean, how could you not feel compassion or feel love for that guy, for what he had to experience as a kid?
Exactly.
Is it above wrestling standards not to use something like that for your advantage? Absolutely not. Wrestling is slimy, and they will do anything to get ratings. And so what you said could be just right on. I mean, I would want, I mean, that guy is so likable now to me. And my heart went out for him. If they don't do something with him, they're insane. But I think either way, it's all irrelevant to who. I think this is really, it's not about Christian Cage. I don't think he wins. I think he's there for Hobbs. I could be wrong. I really want to hear Petey's take though. But I feel like Dmitri said, whoever's coming in, whoever the surprise is, that's the guy that it's been all about from the very get-go. Petey.
I believe the 90-day first round of firings, they're not eligible to show up yet, are they? No. Okay. So that takes off a whole bunch of names.
Yeah.
To round out my prediction, I think you're right, because Lars, I think Christian and Hobbs are in this match to continue a storyline. So you got to take those two off. I'm either going to say Pentagon or Brian Pillman Jr. for my winner. I think those are two guys that could easily hold that case for as ever long to be popped in. But damn it, Dmitri, you win the prediction show with the Moose call, because that blew my mind, and that makes such great sense that I'm going to have to go with Moose as the surprise entrant, stealing it from you, Pete.
I'm gonna have to play a little dumb on this one.
Hey, because he already knows it's gonna be Moose.
No, I don't. But just keep in mind, you know, I've already filmed all the way up to Slammiversary.
Shall we defer? I mean, wow, that's almost incriminating without saying anything.
Why don't we?
I don't know who's gonna win. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't know. I'll just.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
So, you know, I'll
Is
just.
there odds?
I'll just.
Is there odds on any gambling site anywhere on the surprise guest? Because even this guy, hey, and I'll tell you this, guys. Here's a stat of the night for you. Did you know? In my sport of hockey, they created the Athletic Cup 100 years before they created the helmet. Bum, 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 bum. Explains everything. Back to the program, Dennis.
Pete,
Yeah, you know, I'll just. I won't have a pick in this one, I guess.
you don't even want to throw out a guess on who's going to win the battle royal?
Yeah. Let me do that. I'll say.
Thanks for being part of the show.
Yeah, no problem. I like what everybody's saying. You know, man.
It can't be Dustin. I think.
Yeah, no, I'll go with Christian Cage. Everybody's going against them, so I'll go with him.
I said him.
Yeah.
Okay, I meant the storyline with like
Other
you
Canadian,
know, Hobbs and stuff.
non-Canadians on the program.
Yeah.
That's what you meant. I got you. How's
Well-
she going, eh?
And, you know, I'll see Andrade for the you know, because his no compete I believe is done. Everybody else is like,
He had none.
oh yeah, okay. So everybody else is that big, you know, release crew that happened not too long ago. Theirs I think expires July 15th, 2 days before Slammiversary.
Look, TNA,
And the return of Samoa Joe.
So it begins, by the way. Petey confirms Impact has been bought by AEW, and he knows a surprise entry.
I don't. No, I don't. It just I don't want to use my inside knowledge to be like,
well, here's
hey, I'm just a fan right now, man. Just enjoy. We're making predictions. This is all good.
yeah. I mean, but honestly, like if you really think about it, Impact needs a big win right now. I mean, they've been given a lot of favors to AEW at this point, so I really feel like it's Impact's turn. So.
Yeah, somebody getting a big receipt on the end of this one.
Woo. Thanks, Petey. You've made the show famous finally.
Yeah, no problem.
I can't wait to wake up tomorrow. Scott Demore calling your phone. Petey, what did you do?
And I'm gonna be like, hey, Scott, I worked everybody because I don't even know, but I made it seem like I knew.
Well, let's.
God, that's why you're the best. That's why you're the best. You got Canadian destroyed. It's cerebral now, boys.
Yep. Hey, it's 20. I'm going on 21 years in this business in September, so I mean, you know, I've learned a thing or two from old Scotty Demore.
Well, I think it was Mr. Frederiksen that said that we all know this is a slimy business.
Very slimy.
Little do you guys know, Petey Williams just stole that opinion from Amazing Rad too.
Yep.
Oh wow!
That was why it was an amazing opinion.
Amazing Red came up with everything, man. But anyways, go on, Dennis. I think what do we got? Like 2 matches left?
I believe there's one more match left.
2.
What
We got the world title match and the Stadium Stampede match.
That's right, 2. You're right. Well, then let's go with the world title match. It's Kenny Omega, the champion, with Don Callis going in against Orange Cassidy and Pac. I tell you, D-Mac, you started off.
Okay, here it is, right? And this is where Petey has to just play fan, but hear me out because I've been thinking about this a lot, right? Now, how could they take the belt off Omega? Why would they? Because they don't want him to lose. So I'll make it short because we're running on time. Pac wins, pins Orange Cassidy. So Omega, right in the 3-way, he loses that belt to Pac, who will go defend it and lose it in Impact. That's where I thought, like, Pac's going to take the brunt of the loss between. So I think that this World Championship changes hands, but I don't think Omega gets pinned by Pac. But if that can go down in the 3-way, and then that's how it travels. Because I don't think they let Omega lose or it's Omega wins. But I think that if there's a twist in there, Pac wins, and it does something where then you see him travel to Impact, and where does it go from there? So that's just outside the box what I was thinking of how somebody else could win. So I'm going with that one.
Dmitri Young.
Well, that is quite interesting concept right there, D-Mac. I was just thinking myself about the whole deal, and Omega is the flag bearer, and they do like him traveling around the world and being the belt collector. And I think this is going to extend a little longer than we expect. But I think Orange Cassidy is going to take the pin. I think everything that you said, D-Mac, is going to happen, except at the very end, Kenny Omega is going to throw Pac out of the ring, and he's going to secure the pin. Or there might be some funny business with the Good Brothers as well. But I think Kenny's going to keep the belt.
Lars?
Well, the wrestling fan wants to see Orange Cassidy win because of the heat between him and Omega, right? So because I think that's really where this story is. I think, I think you're right on one thing, D-Mac, is I think Pac is – I know that you said that he'll go over, but I think he's incidental in this situation. I think it all comes back down to Omega and Orange Cassidy. Now, as a wrestling fan, I want to see Orange Cassidy pin Pac, right, to get the belt, because then Omega doesn't actually legitimately lose that belt, and then that's what raises the energy, because they still have not duked it out and settled the score. So that becomes way more interesting to me in the long run, that Omega now is chasing that belt against the guy that he hates, and don't put your hands in your pocket, that whole thing. That interaction with them was so amazing. I thought it was so great. I think Orange Cassidy, it's like the hipster versus the the belt collector. So I think it's good, and I think the personalities that both of them have. I don't want to see Orange Cassidy do those little weird kick things to Omega. I think that kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think that's funny on other things, but I don't think at this level it's called for or whatever. But, I'm sure he will do that to somebody. But, I would love to see that scenario play out. But I feel also like Omega is kind of the face right now. And why would you detour from that when you're just now getting fans back here? And when your brand basically is up there in the same breath with WWE, but why are you there?
To your point, Lars, to your point exactly, though, is why you give the belt to Orange Cassidy, because you got the ones, because then that as the world opens back up and as everything gets live, you got that whole pop for those whole kids for the Hulkamania, which is orange juice now, right? And then you got so I just had the pin wrong, but I had the story sort of right. You know what I'm saying? And that makes sense if they were going to take the belt off Omega. Then it goes back to D. You guys are right in that aspect. Why do you take it off them? So,
well, if we were writers,
the thing is, if they got AEW, we are honestly could go either way. WWE, we know. So,
well,
I like that. I like what you said.
If we were writers, I would just be coming in and improving your work, D-Mac. That's all I'd be doing.
I will say this, Pete. I'll go before you. Looking at this, I remember that Pac was supposed to be the man, supposed to be the next champion before COVID hit. He got locked out, couldn't make it over to the United States, and got lost in this whole reshuffling. I think this match is to set up a longer feud between Omega and Pac. You look at this roster, and every viable contender for the championship is going to still be tied up in a feud. You're going to lose Cody. You're going to lose Moxley with the pregnancy. They don't have any legitimate champions to face Omega in the future right now, because I even think the Pinnacle, and we'll get to the Stadium Stampede, is going to go even further, which keeps all those guys tied up a little bit longer. That you you don't really have anybody to step up. I think this match is to set up a little bit longer feud between Omega and Pac. And Cassidy, it's almost like the very first time Chris Jericho won the championship off the fast pin just to see how the crowd would react. I think this match in a full stadium is just to see how the crowd reacts to Orange Cassidy in the main event before they commit to him in the future. That's the way I view this. I think Cassidy takes the pin and you see Omega win, and it's Omega and Pac in the future for the next pay-per-view.
Petey, before you go, I have one question to you on your production, but on your behind the scenes type, because what just happened is I said one thing with a great argument why Pac should win. Why Omega, then why Orange Cassidy? Does this what happens in a production room or whatever before, like when it makes sense that anyone that anybody said makes sense in storyline, how it's just how they're furthered? So do these conversations of, if we did it this way, where could we go with it? If we did it this way, where could we go with it? If we did it, is this how, like we're talking about, is maybe behind the scenes a little bit of how it's created?
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, we're gonna have to get into that in another podcast. I'll kind of tell you how, the storyline's written and stuff like that, because it's kind of but it's the same thing. Like, brainstorming. That's what it comes down to. What do we do next? Okay, we can't put the belt on him, or because that's too soon. Because then where does he go from there? And then this, you have to keep a lot of things in mind. Going to my prediction, like Orange Cassidy it's all about the babyface chasing the title. That's what it's always been about. You look at like guys like, WWE references like The Rock and Stone Cold. They never had long title reigns. They were always chasing it. And they were always like Triple H they were always chasing like Triple H or something like that, who had the longer title reigns. And then once they win it, they don't hold it for like a month or whatever, then they lose it. So it's always about the chase. So I don't see Orange Cassidy winning in this instance. Pac, phenomenal athlete, and I see Kenny Omega winning this one. And yeah, I do think he pins. Maybe he won't pin Orange Cassidy. I could see him pinning Pac, and then Orange Cassidy and Kenny Omega on having on like Dynamite or something as a main event or whatever the case may be. They have a match as their blow off or something like that.
That's actually a really good question, D. Because D-Mac, here we go. We booked this main. I don't know if this is. I think the Stadium Stampede is going to be the main event, but we booked this match 3 different ways that make sense. Yes, Lars.
But are we moving on?
No, say what you want.
Because one of the things I want to say though is that Omega holds the Impact and the AEW Championship.
Yes,
he one's up in this match.
Let me ask this question: what belt would he lose if he lost this match?
The AEW World Championship. Yeah. That's what's on the line.
Correct. But my point is that he's still, what Omega has done is elevated the Impact Championship. So even if he loses the belt, he's still a world champion.
Yep.
So this more to my point about Orange Cassidy and why I would put the belt on him for that short amount of time. Like you said, you're right, Petey. Babyface always has to chase it. Always has to chase it. It's like, what did Ric Flair say? He only won 16 times. It's like, that's the whole thing. But my point is that, it would be really interesting because not the belts they're the same now in my eyes, anyways. I don't think one is lesser than the other. And it's only Kenny Omega who could do that, I think. So, but to your point, so I'm sorry, I'll get out of the boardroom now. Dennis,
no, keep going. This is your show too. If you have more points, make them. I don't care.
I don't know
what to do.
But I think there's so much you can do here. It's like, this is like, if you have this many problems of what to do creatively,
that's a good problem to have. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, and the only point, Petey, to that what you said that struck a chord was that, remember how it's always been the babyface chases the belts? Well, AEW seems to buck a lot of trends and do some stuff, just, you know what I'm saying? because it seems like the wrestlers want to. You know, it seems like whatever angle it goes, and Impact the same way. It seems like the wrestlers have talked it out, so they're buying into it and are all about whatever angle. And that, to me, again, that goes back to storyline. I don't have to like it, but it's got to make sense. And to what Dennis was saying is like, isn't that awesome that we're talking about a program that we're excited to watch as adult men, and being a whatever part of it, but whatever love, and it just feels like it did when you were a kid and you didn't know what to expect, sort of like the curtain. So as much as a forbidden door, the curtain's open, this still is like cool as hell to be able to, not know which way until next time, until tomorrow night, which way it goes. It's awesome.
I 100% agree. And now, from what I think the main event should be, and I think it was the main event of the last time it debuted on a pay-per-view, the Stadium Stampede, the Pinnacle, MJF, Warlow, Sean Spears, Cash Wheeler, Dax Hardwood versus the Inner Circle, Jericho, Jack Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz. Did you guys see the first one? Because
dude, listen, one Wigan Angel, Kenny Omega's finish is one of my that and PAX 450, but like one of my favorite, and Sammy Guevara, and to do that outside, I don't care what it is. You guys, Petey, you guys are nuts, man, and that was awesome. I think that the Inner Circle wins because they got to stay together, and like Dennis was saying earlier, just because it elongates the feud, that so nobody will be going off. I think how it ends is I think Jericho gets Sean Spears. I was thinking about that, but I also think too that you see FTR sort of pan out eventually into the tag team scene by the next pay-per-view, hopefully, if this feud isn't done. So I think it's going to be amazing. I think it should be the best one. Last year's was awesome. Friggin' Hangman on a horse with the flag like he was going to a football game or something like that. Oh man,
here's
I have to watch that again.
Here's what I think the only problem is. This has to be a totally different match. The last time there was a lot of comedy in it. You had that. You had, what was it?
Matt Hardy changing constantly
over and over again, and then you had the drinking the milk and the whiskey at the bar. I think there was a little bit too for that match. Then that was perfect for this match, which is a bona fide blood feud. You cannot have any comedy in this match. Any comedy?
I don't think there'll be any in it.
Hatfield McCoy's right here, baby. Hatfield McCoy's. This is gonna be like, it's got to be the counterpunch to Jericho getting MJF to lead to the climax, all climaxes, right? So how are they going to outdo each other? Because I think that's what we've seen, is that no matter what happens, they just figure out a way. I'd like to see them how they incorporate. I like Wardlow and Hager as the big guys, but it'd be cool to be able to see if they can incorporate them a little bit more with, what Sammy does, because I'll tell you, that was so, Petey, how hard is that to nail the corner to corner with the chair kick Sammy did in that? Oh,
yeah, that's like, it's very tough.
Yeah, right. You're dumb, right? Like, I mean, like, you're not like that's just, so I expect a lot of things like that.
Lars?
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be violent. I think it's going to be out of control. I'm hoping for it to be the most over-the-top match of the night. I think it will be. I think the Inner Circle wins. I think it makes the most sense for them to win. But then again, if you look at everybody, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, I don't know. I think the Inner Circle wins.
Let me ask you the room this before we continue with the predictions. With losing Moxley, with losing Cody, Do you think they're forced to break up the inner circle to disperse all this talent back into the different ranks to fill it out a little bit more because you are losing some of these guys?
I think that they're bringing people in. I feel like we're going to see a lot of things in the next couple months that AEW is going to do. I don't think they have to do that. And I if you were asking me, I don't think they do that. I don't think they're going to do that. I think there's going to be a lot of people that they're going to bring in that are going to be names. You know what I mean? That's going to make more of an impact than something like that. I don't think they need to do that because that's working so well.
D-Mac, real quick.
Yeah, no, I think that we're going to see a lot of some of the people that are going to get the shine in that battle royal that is going to come up. So to Lars's point, but Dennis, to your point too, again, both sides of the coin, I can see it that if Inner Circle loses and they got to split up to get into feuds because the other guys are leaving if they're not going to push anybody else. But yeah, great point. We'll see how it happens.
All right. Head coach, playoff head coach, Dmitri Young.
I'm going for the Inner Circle as well because the Pinnacle just started. They had the blood and guts already, which the Pinnacle won. And we're not looking for the clean sweep right now. And breaking up the Inner Circle when they've been such a positive presence since the inception of AEW, I don't see them breaking them up just yet. They can draw that feud out for another year. You know, going to individual feuds with like D-Mac was saying, Wardlow and Hager, and then the tag team scene with LAX and FTR. I mean, there's so many different ways you can go. The TNT belt can go on somebody on either side. Sammy Guevara, matter of fact.
Absolutely.
I see, you know what? For some reason, I see Sammy Guevara pinning Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is, to me, the weak link. He's a nice guy and stuff, nice wife, but I feel that he's the weak link out of this whole thing.
He's Canadian, but he's from Niagara Falls, eh?
I think Hager's the weak link, honestly.
Who is?
Hager.
Well, he means on the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, out of all of the people that are involved,
I tell you what, my quick prediction, I think you see Jericho pin MJF. You know, I think that makes the most sense. MJF injured him. He's walking around with that cast. I think he just gets beat down. And this is a match where it doesn't matter who takes the pin. I think with MJF taking a pin in this match, if this whole thing is crazy enough, it doesn't matter. There's so many variables. He could get beaten and choked and put through, 18 seats, take the pin, and we think, holy cow, that was an amazing match. I don't think anybody goes, well, MJF is weaker for taking a loss in this match.
I got to interject here and say that I think it's vice versa. I think MJF pinning Jericho.
And ending the Inner Circle? All right. Petey?
So this is okay. First off, I would love to see these guys feud for a year. Like Dmitri said, like everybody was saying, like there's so much you can do. Like they could probably feud for 2 years if we wanted to, and people still wouldn't get sick of it. There's just so many variables, such great talent in this match. I feel, I don't know why I feel this, but I feel that, AEW is going to throw us a curveball like they do. And I think they're going to, probably have MJF pin Chris Jericho. And just like Lars said, and Inner Circle is going to have to disband. And I mean, I don't know what happens after that, but I feel like that's going to be the end. It's going to be like a shock, and, tune in, this, when's it on now? Wednesday? Yeah. Tune in on Wednesday, so I see that happening. That's what my gut's telling me. Although I don't want to see it happen, but I think it's going to happen.
Well, what we got to do is look at the Inner Circle and see who's having babies, and then we can make our predictions.
So I think when he was still under contract with Impact.
Jericho's going on tour with Fozzy.
Yeah.
So,
see?
God damn it. I think you guys nailed it.
So Mike M.
There's got to be a clause so when he comes back.
Yeah.
So by the time he comes back, there'll be other probably, ex WWE guys contracted there, and the thing will look different. There'll be a new group,
Yep.
I think the Pinnacle will dominate. They'll be like that NWO, but better and stuff. And people are gonna have to try to take them down, and eventually that's gonna be a year thing, and then maybe 6 months or whatever, Jericho comes back, and I don't know.
All right.
Today.
Well, let's. I got 2 more questions for you guys. What's going to be the match of the night, and let's say what might be the dud of the night, or surprise. You can either do dud or surprise if you don't want to be dud. Petey, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, because I gave away my my shit already. I feel like the big sleeper pick, the match of the night, will be the Hangman Page Brian Cage. Like everything I said before, there's just 2 phenomenal athletes right there. Brian Cage really knows how to do. Just when he was with Impact, he held the title. He was in some big matches and stuff. Right now, this is a big marquee match for him, and he knows how to not hold back. And same with Page, so they're gonna go out there and just tear it up.
All right. Do you have a dud or a surprise?
Yeah, I think everything's gonna be, just looking at the card really quick. I don't think there'll be a dud. I think it's gonna be a solid show top to bottom. On paper, it's solid top to bottom. So I don't see a dud happening.
By the way, chat room, this is your last chance to get your opinions in on this match. Throw them up. Like Mike M just said, Cheetah Baker will be fantastic. Dmitri Young.
That's funny that Mike M put that, because that was going to be my match of the night right there. Britt Baker and
You're
Cheetah,
bad. You know what? I learned from the best.
They know how to put on a show. As for a dud of the night, AEW is kind of like NXT. They always seem to just have match after match. So it's really hard for me to say, maybe this one, maybe. You know what? If I had to say any match, let's just go out and say Miro and Lance Archer. It's just gonna be a big slugfest, and it might be a little boring to some that like the flippity stuff, but. If I'm gonna have to pick something, it's gonna be
that's
that
a good
one.
pick.
That might be a quick one.
That's a safe pick.
Lars?
Thank you.
I think Moxley, Kingston, Young Bucks is going to steal the show. I think it has the most potential. You're talking about ring veterans, both sides. Anybody in that ring of all of those guys can do anything. I hope they don't do something stupid like go through 10 tables and then run the ropes like they've done before, which is idiotic. So it takes away the whole point of going through a fucking table. Yeah. So I think that will steal the show. And I think the surprise about I don't really have a dud or a surprise. I think there's going to be 2 matches that will have their moment. That one, and then obviously Dr. Britt Baker. I think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be a show stealer. I think this is expected. I think we all want to see this. So the only way that I think it's going to be a surprise is if she doesn't win.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Britt Baker match as my show stealer of the night, like everybody said. And I will say this, and I will put an asterisk by my answer. If the Stadium Stampede is draped in comedy like it was last year, that would be the dud of the night for me, because I want to see a blood feud. I want to see someone die in this match. And
I don't want to see anybody die. Okay, that doesn't represent the wrestling perspective.
Wow.
We don't want to see people die. Right? Don't get on the chat. We don't want maybe fake die,
yes,
but really be alive. Okay,
you know what I mean. I want to see blood and guts and anger and hatred. I want to see good old-fashioned 1980s blood feud in this match. I don't want to see Matt Hardy change costumes 18 times and go through a retrospective of what he was. This match needs to be anger and hate, not comedy. But if it's comedy, that will be my dud of the night. D-Mac?
I agree with Lars. Match of the night will be Young Bucks. Kingston Moxley is just as far as I look at that for what he said, experience. But like you guys are saying, the one I'm looking forward to is Cheetah and Britt. I think it's that's got so much pop potential. what they can put on. And anytime you get them orchestrating, especially the women and Cheetah, just the way that I think it goes down. And the one thing that I think is, I don't know where you want to put it in this category, but the shocker will be whichever way it goes. But if Omega does lose and the belt either goes to Orange Cassidy or to Pac, to see where that goes. So that's my prediction. The belt, Omega loses and the belt goes one way or the other.
Mike M did just pop in for people that are listening audio only. The Battle Royal will be a dud if Andrade does not show up.
Or Moose.
Or Moose, yes. That's I still think I like the Moose call. So let's do this. We haven't done this in a while. Let's do some promoting. D-Mac, where can people find you? What have you been up to? We've missed you the last 7 or 8 shows.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys doing a hell of a job, and thanks to Darby Allen for coming on the Blue Meanie. I saw them. I know that I'm like Petey. I'm Canadian too, so I can't remember everything. But catch me Monday to Friday, Woodward Sports Network, The Hook, DarrenMcCarty.com. Obviously, Darren McCarty 4 on Twitter. Any of the blue check marks, but yeah, grind time.
And maybe more.
Darren McCarty.
And maybe more XICW. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. The XICW. Yes. Let me say this shout out. All right. So, little video. Darren McCarty, like I said, D-Mac, because the D stands for Dick. Because I'll tell you what it is. That's the guy that flaunts the 4 cups and everything. Anyways, he's here right now. He's going to tell you something, kids. Death Threat Army. Get to know them. They're coming for you. There's a new faction out of the D. XICW. Yeah, check them out.
Mr. Playoff himself, Dmitri Young. First of all, how awesome! Congratulations. We're super excited because we've been part of this when you wasn't even a head coach, and then you become one, and now you're a playoff on the show. It's like watching you all grow up in front of our eyes.
Thank you. In all seriousness, this has been an incredible ride, and it's taken me away from coming on a wrestling perspective on a consistent basis. But D-Mac knows as a player, when you become a coach, you relive everything through those kids and you get them to buy into what you're teaching them. And that's be accountable for your actions, give your very best, not give a fuck, and go out there and kick some ass. And they bought into it. We won our league, and now we're going into CIF playoffs. And, we're that team that's coming out of nowhere. We're not the team that's used to being in the playoffs. There are a lot of teams that are, but we are going to shock the world. And I believe in these young men. They believe in me, and they believe that they can kick some ass. So we're going to find out who we play tomorrow for our first round. And I may or may not be on this week because getting those boys ready. But thank you for the support, guys.
I'll say this. I think I speak for everybody. We can't wait to have you back full time, but hopefully it's not soon.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Hey, how was that Gatorade bath, by the way?
Oh, you want to know how that shit was? Let me see. First of all,
know how many laps the kid who dumped you had to get.
Well, I know his dad. We're cool, but I got a busted lip. I almost drowned because that damn cooler went in my head, and I had water. And then I got pushed down, so I jarred my shoulder a little bit and got soaked with Gatorade, and then I got all muddy. But it was well worth it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, because the first time I moved out of the way of it.
D, I just wanted to point out that you didn't have to tell us that your team hadn't been there much before. They showed that in the celebration. So maybe work on the boys a little bit. Little joke after practice is get them over there to do the proper dump and dump it back on that kid. We're going to show you a proper dump, how you don't hurt a kid and get them wet. That might get the kids going.
Yeah, well, she gave me the concussion. I'm the one that's hurt.
I
know. Lars, what's going on with you, my friend?
Well, first of all, congratulations, D.
Thank you.
I mean, that's so awesome. And honestly, like, I can see why you would have a team of winners and how easy it would be to buy into what you're selling, because you are a class act from top to bottom, and you deserve success. And
Thank you.
honestly, I'm not that surprised because, just who you are, you would be very easy to follow. So good luck. I hope you guys take it all, and I hope you don't take too many more bats. You know what I mean? But
No, I want to take the bath. That means we're winning.
Well, I just don't want you to drown. I want you to show up. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I just don't want any more concussions.
Nobody does.
Yeah. But what did you ask me, Dennis? Because I was just thinking about Dmitri's success, and I just wanted to tell him that.
Well, what do you have going on? I know there's one tour date announced at least for Rancid at Riot Fest, September 17th, 18th, and 19th in Chicago.
We're playing the Saturday night in Chicago. We are coming to Detroit. So just so you know,
Oh, for sure.
I think it's in August. We're playing in Sacramento in October. I think dates will get as more and more I can talk about it. Obviously the COVID thing, you know what I mean? So not a lot of, but the tour with us and the Dropkick Murphys has been rescheduled, and it's looking like it's going to take place. And hopefully that will start in August. I believe it's going to start in Pittsburgh. So, but yeah, so we're just banging out a new record. I don't know when it'll be out. We're kind of one of these bands now. We just kind of put it out when we feel like it. So, I like living like that a lot of ways because it's, you're not in a rush anymore. Life is not a series of 100-yard dashes. It's a marathon with water breaks, and time to smell the roses and things. And you learn that when you get older. But not that I'm any older than anybody here. Actually, I'm the oldest one here, right?
Yeah, Pop.
I'm 47.
What are you, D? Matt?
39. Man, I'm the youngest one here. Shit, that never happens.
I'm the oldest. How old are you, Lars?
I'm gonna be 50 this year.
Okay, you're the oldest. I just turned 49. I'm 72. You're 71.
I'm 73.
Yeah.
See that?
October.
That is.
Dennis, what are you?
Well, because you
70,
well, go ahead. You're at 76.
77.
77.
Petey?
I'm an 80s guy, 81.
Oh, fuck off.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't born earlier.
I was going to punk shows, smoking cigarettes, getting into fights before you were. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm still in the ring. All right. And I'm pushing 40. So, all right.
But you look great, Petey. You always.
Thank you. I'll do. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Well, all I was going to say is I watched D-Mac do his thing and Dmitri do his thing. And I could have sworn to God those guys were older than me this whole time. But, but that's, anyways. So got a new Rancid record coming out soon. I've got a solo record that's going to come out, and it's more of an EP. So it's kind of at this point, I'm just, I'm not in a rush to do much. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of here and being a dad. So that's kind of my most important thing for me.
Awesome.
Pete, what have you been doing?
Wrestling, obviously. So, I mean, man, they got me working to the bone, multiple matches a day and stuff. I think from now, between now and Slammiversary, July 17th, I think I'm only not on one of the programs. The one big one coming up is this Thursday. They just announced it. I couldn't talk about it yet when we were talking to the Blue Meanie on last Wednesday, but they announced it. It's the big Iron Man match, the first ever 1 hour Iron Man match in Impact history. It's going to be on this Thursday. It's going to start on BTI before the Impact, so that starts at 7. It's still on. You can catch it on Twitch, Access TV, whatever the case may be. And it's Josh Alexander versus TJP. We had our match, the tag match. TJP pinned Josh. Everybody's like, why did Josh take the pin? Well, that was why. They were building up to this Iron Man match, and I was there. I witnessed it, and you do not want to miss this Iron Man match. It starts like right at 7. I think they do some promoting, and then pretty much like 5 minutes after the hour, they start the match, and it rolls right into Impact.
Yeah. By the way, I did have a quick question from a couple people that wanted me to ask. What would you compare Double or Nothing to as far as top 4 WWE pay-per-views? Would this be their SummerSlam? Because I think All In is their WrestleMania.
Yep.
right? Would this be their SummerSlam in your opinion? And where do you think this will rank as far as their pay-per-views as like greatest in history?
I would say, like I would say this is their SummerSlam. I would say All In because that was their first pay-per-view, just like, WWE's first one was like their WrestleMania, right? So Double or Nothing, I believe this was their second pay-per-view, right? Maybe. So yeah, definitely their SummerSlam. Rank on the best pay-per-view. I mean, I don't think it'll rank number one. It has the potential, but I don't think anything will top that, their first ever All In. I like, it was just so special, regardless if there's been better matches on different pay-per-view cards. It just that specialness of that first All In. But I think this could rank in probably on paper, like in their top three.
Dmitri?
It's gonna be high up there because of the fan returning, and yeah, it's definitely one of the WWE Big Fours. I was looking more along the lines of a Royal Rumble type because of the Stadium Stampede being like an offset kind of deal that none of the other four except the Survivor Series has. But I like Royal Rumble a little bit better, so I'm going to use that comparison.
Lars?
I mean, that's a good comparison, D. I was thinking that too, but I was also thinking, and not just because I'm wearing a T-shirt, but it kind of reminds me like of the In Your Houses, you know what I mean? Like those types of pay-per-views. That's the way I kind of see it. But I honestly think this is going to be their biggest pay-per-view ever. I don't think there's a lemon on the law. I think the only match that I'm sort of not interested in is a Go-Go and Rhodes. I mean, I know that there's ramifications, but like that to me seems like the weakest match in the whole thing. And it's not a weak match.
Yeah.
That makes sense? So it's like I think across the board, even the curtain jerker is a great match. You know what I mean? With Deebs. So I think, Dimitri's right on point with the Royal Rumble because of his analogy of that. But I think this will be their biggest pay-per-view. I think it should be. If it's not, I don't know what would there's so there now you got fans there. People are gonna who can't attend are gonna want to see that excitement. I mean, I know I am. That's where I'm getting it,
Lars, quick question, I guess, for everybody before I get to DMAC. Is this going to be live or a cinematic match? I know last year's match was pre-taped because there were no fans, so it didn't really matter. This has to be live with the fans. I mean, if I'm a fan and I pay money for these tickets to show up, and this match is pre-recorded on the Jumbotron, I'm mad. I mean, that's the only way to watch it anyways, because they're in Daly's place and this will be in the stadium anyways, right?
Yeah, no, this will definitely be live.
Gotta be live. If it's not live, that's like half a hand job from the studio. Honestly, if it's not live, I'd leave. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'd be like the biggest gyp known to man.
The AEW would not do that to the fans. It will definitely be live. I would place all my money on it.
What was that one match? Oh my God, the empty stadium match.
Are you talking about The Rock versus Mankind way back in the day?
That's what,
like the halftime heat or whatever it was.
Yeah. That was pretty.
Yeah, that was cool at the time. I mean, it was a Super Bowl, and they filmed that probably whenever. But that was cool. But yeah, it's they're gonna want to wrestle in front of the fans. They're Jericho will politic and be like, no, we're in front of the fans. We're not doing a cinematic match. Screw that.
I mean, fuck that. Like,
all right,
you're a worker.
Yeah,
Darren, let me ask you this. Question, Darren. What are the odds of the Stadium Stampede? I guess spilling out into Daly's place in front of those fans.
Oh, absolutely. That's what has to end especially if it's the last match of the night. Right, you would see that happening. The one thing is that I think this is one of the pay-per-views we'll have to watch down the road because of the fans and because of the energy and the pop. Everybody's going to be so excited and stuff like this. And as far as do guys run out of gas because the adrenaline runs out with some of these matches, or is it better than you think? Because like Lars said, yeah, it should draw unbelievable numbers. It should have everything because it's the new thing again. But I don't think we can judge it until we all watched it down the road. If we watch something else. And I'd probably, I like Dimitri's. I was thinking Survivor Series first, but then I think it's more of a Royal Rumble. This is more of the Royal Rumble, but then this is like the brand new, so this is like the pop of the shop again, right? So I don't think but I also like what you guys said is I don't think that it's the first one was so special because it was so new. This is going to be so special because it's so together again with people. And I just think the performances, guys are like, they've been waiting for this. It's not anything like everybody's going to be on top of their game. And Petey, you get like you're talking about before without to be able to do, they did that Iron Man match with no fans or other than, right?
Yeah, they did the match with no fans. Like they did, it was a legit hour. Like during the commercial breaks, they wrestled through it. It'll be shown on full length and digital, you know, like picture in picture type deal. Yeah, and it like can you imagine like no fans?
That live. Yeah.
What's that?
So that's what I'm saying.
All right. Before we wrap this up, we got one more question, and then we're going to end the show. What do we think about the New Japan WWE rumored partnership? I'll start this off and say I'm a little disappointed because I think New Japan would better grow their brand in the United States with partnering with Impact, AEW, doing what they were doing. I think by partnering with the WWE, it'll be so closed off. And we've seen in the past how WWE treats non-WWE created talent that I can't imagine New Japan really doing this. I think it might be a bargaining chip for negotiating with all these other companies, but it doesn't make sense for New Japan for me. Lars?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think what happened with me? Can you guys still, what happened?
Oh, we've been here with you the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, because my screen was doing a little spinner. It was doing a spinneroonie. So did anybody? Side note: Booker T documentary, next level. So, anyways, I think it would be stupid. I mean, honestly, I think partnering with the WWE in any way, shape, or form as another wrestling company is not a good idea. Historically, I don't think it's ever been a good idea. They're always going to look out for their own people. I think they're a little bit late to the ball game this time. I think if New Japan's maybe using it as a bargaining chip, that makes better sense. But any of these companies that are at that level should be sticking together right now because I think that's where all the attention is going and the eyes are going on this. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal because, I mean, WWE audience is not going to give a fuck or know who New Japan talent is, really, at the end of the day. And I don't think that that's going to help their talent at all, honestly.
Dmitri?
I am in all agreement with what Lars was saying. You know, WWE trying to get in where everybody else has already been doing it is almost like, all right, here come the guy with the big bucks. Now he's going to come in and ruin all the fun. And the only way that that's going to work is if New Japan gives in. I hope they don't give in. I like when we see talent coming from New Japan to Impact or coming to AEW and they're switching off like that, kind of that whole forbidden door thing. So with WWE coming in, WWE is its own entity in itself. It's its own continent. And leave that where they should be because they're more into the sports entertainment where these other wrestling promotions are more into the wrestling. And that's what I like to see. I like to see the wrestling and storylines, not cartoonish storylines either. I like the real stuff that goes on. And that's what we're seeing with AEW, Impact, New Japan. And I would like to see that continue.
Pete, I'm going to give D-Mac the last word, but you got this.
Yeah, I think, man, I hope the rumors aren't true. Like, you know, Impact had a partnership with New Japan before, back under the old regime. They destroyed it. We had like Nakamura, we had Okada. Like we didn't use them properly. Like they were just like Tanahashi. They were just dudes on our show, like maybe getting a win here or there, but they were there for a little tour. They didn't do it right. Financially for New Japan, it makes sense for them to partner with WWE financially, not like, when it comes to like, best match quality and stuff like that, because WWE's platform is just they're everything is just so it's such a household name. You know, they're on Peacock. Like, come on. So financially, it makes sense for New Japan. I hope it's not true because I really like what's going on in the wrestling business now. Like everybody was saying, like WWE's their own thing. Let them do it. Yeah, I mean that's where I stand in that. Yeah.
D-Mac, you'll end the show with your opinion.
Yeah, you know what? It's I like what Tony Khan came out and said, and said there've been whatever, if it's a negotiating play or whatever, but he said there can only be one Khan. I thought it was like Star Trek. The only one Khan, no Nick Khan, WWE. I voted for Tony. I mean, I hope that the wrestlers prevail. But again, I think you nailed it, Petey. It comes down to dollars, comes down to when it don't make dollars, it don't make sense, right? Like that's the way. So if they're looking at it, and it depends who's calling the shots and if it's a financial shot. But the difference is now, right? This is a play that Vince always could come to the party last, and he could always do different things and just throw money at it or take it over, just like the Empire. Well, Tony Khan and his dad, that he's got a lot of support, who own the Jacksonville Jaguars, let alone the premier soccer team. Like, listen, you can't compete with the billions that they own. So the money's out of it. So I guess it comes down to relationships, and we'll see. But Petey nailed it on the head. The reach that it has with NBC Peacock, and I don't know what it does, but I would just say that it does more money, more numbers. And you got to remember, WWE is a publicly traded company. So there's so many other things besides all this that goes into business decisions that are way over my head, but follow the money, you usually get there. So great talk tonight, boys, because honestly, I don't know what the hell is going to go on. All I know is that we figured out if DMD don't win, we're riding.
Yeah.
And so is all wrestling.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you support the show. We're everywhere. Hopefully you guys come back and watch some of our great interviews. We're going to do maybe one interview a week and then one topic show. So we're going forward. You're going to hear more of our opinions, and that's the way we want it. So, and maybe more live shows. We had a lot of people show up, a lot of fan interaction. This was fun, guys. Hopefully everybody here had fun.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
sir.
All right.
No, always good to see you guys.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Good luck and happy Double or Nothing weekend. We'll see you guys later.